Hi, welcome to See and Heard. Hi, I'm Melia Bensussen, or Melia. Happy that you're here joining us. I'm the artistic director of Hartford Stage and thrilled to welcome you to our last Seen and Heard of this season, closing out this amazing, really joyous, interesting season with an extraordinary play, Hurricane Diane. We are here with two of the five amazing actors. I'm going to try to limit my adjectives now that I using, but it's hard with this group. This play by Madeline George is a perfect ending to this season, and we're going to learn more about it thanks to all of you being here. Let's see, what was I supposed to say that I haven't said? All right, I love this sentence. This will tell you a lot about this play. A divine comedy of climate control and cul-de-sac rebellion. And this play is a cross, I would say, between Euripides, the Bacchae, and an episode of The Real Housewives. But we'll hear more. I mean, how can you not want to see this play? It's being directed by our wonderful associate artistic director, Zoë Golub-Sass. Well, there you go. Already it's a joyous conversation, right? And with me here are Bernadette Sefic and Sharina Martin. I just gave you a little
flair.
Un poquito de sabor. We're having a wonderful time here at Hartford Stage. We want you to learn all about this play. And so on that, I'm going to turn to you, Zoe, first, and tell us just a little bit. This is a title that is not familiar to people. There are connections to a Hurricane Diane in this region. No connection to this play, right? But it's kind of fun to think about how global climate phenomenons have hit this region.
Absolutely, and they keep coming. So the play is set in Red Bank, New Jersey, and it's on this quiet cul-de-sac where we have four houses. One of them is inhabited by Sharina, who plays Renee. And it's a community that has just been through a big storm and has come together and it's started their lives back up. And then the Greek god Dionysus comes to New Jersey in the form of Diane, a permaculture gardener who is trying to restart this movement towards restoring the earth to what it once was and unleashing nature and returning and unleashing ourselves. So it's both opening up your gardens, opening up your fences, ripping them out, and also what is that too emotionally and within our relationships and within our marriages, perhaps.
Yeah, it's like nature in all the senses of the word nature, human nature, nature.
Absolutely, and how it's all connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting back in touch with the outside, the inside, our communities. And why don't we do that? The play kind of picks at that question. Why are we so afraid of change, afraid of stepping out? And but does it with a great sense of humor. It's a lot of fun.
It is about, on some way, like, right, Bernadette, you have the wonderful line about hating curbs, hating balance, which I interpret as, forgive my French here, fuck the boundaries. You just want to go to the essence of things, be it people's gardens, or women's psyches, perhaps. Can you tell us a little about your version of Dionysus?
Yeah. I love Madeline George's version because I don't have to work hard to figure out who is Dionysus right here because she gives it to us. Like the play opens.
Right, so Dionysus is Diana, right? So Hurricane Diane, Diane is Dionysus. And we'll talk a little more about the sort of mashup of the Greeks and contemporary life. So I didn't mean to.
Which is fitting because Dionysus went by Bacchus and Bromius and 1,000 other names. And so it's only fitting that with new possibilities and new acolytes, they would take on a new name.
You could shapeshift.
Yeah.
Mostly a male-bodied god.
Often, well, you know, it's funny. In my research, I found out that Dionysus, like the Greek etymology of androgyny, is actually like originally linked to Dionysus. The original word is a lot about how does someone represent both within themselves.
Yeah.
The like divine masculine and the divine
Which is the ultimate erotic, right?
exactly. You're telling me. And so what I love about Dionysus is they are unapologetic.
Yeah.
And they are extremely what I call like Greek god. And I mean that in that you hear all these stories about Greek gods and they are not like the Judeo-Christian.
No, they're not nice at
benevolent,
all.
right? They are fearful. They can be jealous. They can be angry. They can like children. Like they're separate, right?
Happiness I associate with, well, actually with the Judeo-Christian gods too, but that's
Depends, on where you're praying, but for sure. But and joy and ecstasy and kindness and love and softness, right? Like they have the full span of humanity within them, just turned up to
all
100.
right here.
It's like right here.
And there's something that's great about Diane that you've picked up and really leaned into is the love of humans. That also Dionysus and Diane is a demigod, so born of Zeus and a mortal woman. So there's kind of this like real love and investment in humankind, which is really interesting.
because they're related. It is they're relatives. These humans that you're messing with.
Sometimes aliens. like what's this going on?
Like especially in this modern version of like how far humans, the people that I love, have gotten from themselves. So it's like the thing that I love, which is humans, and also like there's a lot of stories I don't get along with my family back home on Mount Olympus. Like my mom's tried to kill me like 3 times.
It's awkward. It's so awkward.
My stepmom, please, my stepmom. Yeah. My real mom's dead. It's a long story. But when coming back, I think these are my people. These are my favorite things in the whole world. And I come back and I'm like, you are so far from yourself. These curves, these boundaries, these, the Bacchae, which is like a party in prayer of Dionysus.
God of wine.
God of wine. I had culture, dance song.
Yeah.
Later on theater. And if there's anything else to be a god for, you don't want it. This is all you want. But in the Bacchae, it's about getting away from self-consciousness also.
Right.
And I come and I meet these women and they're just so far from their true desires.
Well, can I shift to one of the women then and say, do you know of this experience? Right. Because it's really thanks to you and the other women in the cul-de-sac that we understand the breaking of boundaries, because you're part of the building, right? Of both exemplifying how you're trying to make your life work.
Right. Like we all
and the
are.
challenges, and then what it is that happens when a god passing as a landscape gardener, everybody's dream, really, you know. I'm an apartment dweller, so I can only fantasize about the garden world. But so what is your experience being inside this play?
I think this play is so genius because in this world right now, we all have worked to fit into whatever container we need to be in.
That's right.
And even if it's a small thing, even if it's little stuff like, oh yeah, I love living in this tiny apartment, whatever it is that we tell ourselves.
The self-justification of our narratives. I mean, this is my story and I like it.
I like it. This is my life. And all of these women are doing that, but just so extremely. And Renee is somebody who has chosen to leave a path that was more honest for her and go into this very contained life that she
Very corporate life in her art, right? She had her artistic, sort of more true to her spirit youth.
Yeah, was involved in permaculture before, lived on the land, grew her own food, was with a woman, and is now in a place where she's married to a man. She may or may not be happy there.
Right.
She's surrounded by women who do not have the same experience. She is the only Black person on this cul-de-sac, so there's a lot of stuff that's cut off from herself there. At work, she's very isolated. And then this person, this entity, this feeling comes in and is just like, I wonder who you are.
Yeah.
Right? They just give you a little tickle about who you are. And it's the whole play for Renee is just this war of like, but I'm safe here.
And how much can I risk, right?
Yeah, but oh yeah, I forgot.
It's part of what I love that we're doing this play now, because I think it speaks to all of us and the choices we've made, and where do we give ourselves the freedom to go Dionysian, in whatever way we do that, right? Using gardens and global warming kind of as a frame of what happens when you're not true to the nature of your ground or of your inner being, right?
Absolutely.
We have in this play this cross between a kind of very Greek heightened, very funny, very witty structure with the contemporary voices. It ends, a little bit of a spoiler alert, but there is an aspect of a bacchanal, right? So there is within this very modern American comedy, if we can, right? It's a modern American comedy that happens to have Greek rituals at the heart of it, right? Which, of course, are two of my favorite things. So, how can you go wrong? Can you all, Zoe, can you talk a little bit about what that construction is? What can audiences expect, given that I've used all these words that have some people going, wait, what is Melia talking about this week?
Well, part of the challenge of the play is figuring out how to get there to the place that is unfamiliar. And so
we start familiar.
Madeline's playing with conventions, archetypes, folks that we think we know, and that then surprise us in these relationships. And Madeline's a comedic genius, so really builds these people and sets them in an arena that is
just to say, you will see in our wonderful Thrust Theater a very familiar, alive, modern kitchen with a great island and brilliant humans moving around it.
Exactly. And then, so we're playing with how to create these openings in the world where the play gets Greek. And by Greek, we are saying it expands and suspends. And like Bernadette was saying, it live in these emotions that are full, that are just past what we experience. And so as the play and the relationships get more complicated, we start to have the play start to live here. And the being contained in the kitchen starts to break out. And so through the bacchanal,
which in a sense, a bacchanal is a kind of, I don't mean to oversimplify, but there's a kind of musical number quality to a bacchanal. Yes. So that it's not as strange an idea for the theater as it might sound like. We love musicals.
Yeah. The Greeks invented them.
Exactly.
And so in some ways it's a return to full, complete theater, which is song, dance, movement, big feelings, big contrast, individual versus society versus the gods. And so it all converges in the bacchanal. And Diane has this great line about your movements are so ancient and modern at the same time. And so what we're trying to do is build this world that is naturally, it's familiar, but then it goes backwards. And ancient is actually something familiar. So how do we live in both of these worlds? Because in us is who we are now, but also our history. And those have to coexist for us to move forward. And so that way we need a bacchanal in order to bring those pieces of ourselves
to make
together
order again after the chaos, right? The ritual kind of heals us.
Exactly. And through a bacchanal, we unite ourselves, but then find a community. And the bacchanal is actually a true community in a way that before we were a little bit separate from each other. So in the bacchanal, we can really come together.
And so we have a terrific sound person, a human creating extraordinary oral and musical backgrounds for this production, as well as movement choreography. So there are more collaborators, right, than we could bring today. But what has been the experience of working with Joyce and Lillian?
Joyce is incredible. Some of the compositions are amazing.
Are you learning music? Are you singing?
Yes, I'm trying.
You are
There's a real attempt.
It is your nature.
I'm reaching back into my ancientness.
Yes.
Out my
There you go.
But also, there is this amazing instrument that Joyce
As creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about the instrument that Joyce has made.
In Joyce's research, she came upon ancient Greek instruments. One of them was an aulos, which is a double flute, which was used in praise of Dionysus. Again, that doubling, that dual nature. And
I
so
love Bernadette's smile whenever you say praise and Dionysus. I just want to point out, this human, this actor has imbibed the character.
Yeah. Well, Diane's really fixated on hearing her own name in the show.
Yes.
And the being adored
And
it's important.
It's kind of seeping.
Yeah.
we're far enough into reversals where it's just all the same.
I'm like, yeah, say that.
Yeah, please.
So go on about the instrument. I just couldn't help commenting on the
is
joy
amazing.
that is
So
coming.
you're giving someone else a note about praising Dionysus. You might see Bernadette.
And I'm like, yeah, praise her.
More. That's what was missing.
Yeah, I think this whole show could just kind of use some more.
There's a lot. There's football. There's 6-4.
Yeah. Really, what we're saying is
right.
praise Bernadette too is really the invitation.
Absolutely.
But talk about the instruments.
So the instrument, so Joyce, we can't really find this instrument. I think there's like a reproduction somewhere in a museum in Europe. So Joyce reconstructed an aulos out of PVC pipe.
Yeah.
And
Will we see it on stage?
we will not see it on stage.
We might want to think that not seeing it.
Actually, it might fit in with some ancient and modern.
We're seeing collaboration in
Do you want to play the aulos?
I mean, maybe it'll be better at that than singing. We'll see.
I'm hearing you're very good at singing.
No. But you'll hear it. And Joyce built this instrument.
And so they're creating choreography, right? And as Zoe's saying, there's a kind of, right, you're building it out of real behavior.
Yeah.
So as opposed to a musical, which puts the number on top of the actors, part of what I think is so interesting about what Madeline George has created and what you are all making is that it's coming out of your behavior, out of your natures as collaborators in the room.
Yeah.
And that's what creates it, right?
Yeah. One of the things that we're playing with is this change, trying to highlight this change, right? So
From sort of naturalism into the pure expressions.
So from that, but truly for each character, where do they start? And then where do they need to go in order to be open to this change? And how has the play changed them? So
Which is all of us, right? I mean, this is really a story of all of us emerging from our own created shells, you know?
and there's nothing better than comedy to do it.
That's right. There's something about laughing together, too. I think something to go on tangent for a moment, something, given that this is the last play of the season, I think something that has united every production of the season that I hope you as our audience absorb is that these are experiences that you have in our theater that would not be the same on any other medium, right? There's great television. There's great, television's an old word, isn't it? There's great media out there to consume with wonderful storytelling and brilliant acting, but you don't get the sense of transformation happening in front of you. And I think this production is our culminating play of the season, is our final play of the season, really speaks to the themes of this season, which are you need to be in a theater experiencing people changing in front of your very eyes to feel how much you have the potential to change.
Yeah, and it
right?
is a really communal piece. That a lot of it involves the audience. The audience is there.
Oh, wait. Are we going to make the audience do things?
I'm not gonna make it.
Sharina, Sharina.
Listen, maybe they'll be excited to join.
Yeah,
That's a great view.
making is one thing, and offer is another.
Right. But it is. I mean, it's a talking to the audience. It's a welcoming them. It's breaking the line, and whether that is somebody sitting and watching or someone leaning forward, it's still
The leaning forward, I love, right? I mean, Greek theater really being the origin of our theater. Yeah. The origin of Western theater, as we're familiar with it, really is coming from the Greek communal experience.
Yes. Yeah.
So I love that Madeline George is so wise as to weave that in and feel very lucky that we have all of you as our storytellers. It's really going to be important to enjoy this. That's going to be your homework as an audience, is to come have a good time, right? To say, so we're 2 weeks into the process, and that means that they are getting ready. Close your ears. At the end of next week, they move into the theater. What do you feel so far in this, like, halfway? We're sort of halfway to first performance. And what does it feel like at this point? And what do you anticipate happening in the next few weeks as people making this play together? All three of you. You're not off the hook either, Zoe. But Bernadette is thinking, so we're going to let the gods speak first.
My sensation is, one, this like room is wildly warm. So sometimes when you're in process, you can really feel exactly where you're at because they're very tender building blocks to get to a final picture. This process for me has not been that. It has felt like a warm womb of sheer joy, which is like awesome because that's a little bit of like it feeds this very specific.
So this material is, if we're talking about a play where you're going to break boundaries, you have to feel comfortable in a room to do that in the work.
And on what I love about that is like Zoe is so knowledgeable and did so much work. I mean, you're much farther into the process than we are. Like you've been in it.
But you are Dionysus.
Right.
And we were
So let's catch up.
Yeah. And so I will say like, and how incredibly funny the women are in this. Like I have way too much joy in the room because I'm also just fighting for my life to not be laughing and stupid on the ground the whole time.
Right.
Because they're funny.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think what I'm most excited about is, the audience isn't there at the beginning on purpose, but it is such a big block in the pyramid, and especially for this show, for all theater.
But you start the production talking to us.
I do.
I mean, you kind of need the art, right? I mean, the play is built to be performed.
And if I may to get on my pedestal of why I'm so excited about your season and what you said about the season is like, audience is necessary for theater. Yeah. It is like there is no theater without us having an experience in a room together at the exact same time. And the beauty of the ephemerality of that, right? The experience that you have when we are in that room that night will never happen again, right?
You change I've said this over and over, but it bears repeating. Anytime you, the audience, are sitting in that seat where you breathe, where you laugh, where you gasp, where you doze off, impacts the production forever.
Yeah. And this can't be a film. This can't be a TikTok. This can't be a book.
Right.
This is a play and every essence of it. And that thrills me.
Yes.
So I like where we're at and I'm really excited about where we're going next.
Yeah.
Anything else on that?
I love watching all of these performances, Bernadette, and shout out to Christina and Elise and Katya, who are just every time they have a scene, and this play is a lot of language, a lot of very funny language, but every time I'm not on stage, I'm just like, oh my gosh, how are they? So I just like watching these performances grow and learning about this world. If you like gardening, this is the play for you. I've learned so much about plants.
Right.
And
You
could actually start a permaculture business.
I might.
She's been in the room schooling. Like she knows.
Right. So you have this combination of incredible knowledge about the Greek gods, incredible knowledge about global warming within the play, and how to make your lawn be a viable, wonderful, alive thing with not worrying about curb appeal.
Yes.
Do you know?
You walk away with knowledge.
You walk away with knowledge. What else do you hope this audience walks away with?
A smile.
A smile. Good.
There's something that Madeline does in this play where she asks a lot of big questions or suggests them that we all have. Like, what should we do about these challenges?
Yeah.
What should we do about, the day-to-day of our lives is either, as you said, maybe it's not satisfying, or maybe it's not sustainable, or maybe we're far away from who we are. What do we do about that? And the play offers suggestions about things we could do, but ultimately says, we have to come together and we have to be a community and meet each other where we're at and be patient. And it says that's the only way we're going to figure this out. And so in some ways, you know, it does hit all these big issues, but all it says is, yes, the world's really big. It's really scary, but all we have is each other, and for better and for worse, but hopefully for better.
I think that's sort of the perfect note. This is a very funny, very sexy. If we haven't quite said enough about the sex.
We have not said enough.
All right, well, then we're not wrapping up. I mean, we're going to just go a little more about sex, and then we'll wrap up. So let's talk a little bit about sex. Now, this would be a literalness of foot in mouth as I'm watching Bernadette, Greek god.
What I hope you take away also is that this is a play that is being put on during Pride Month.
Yeah.
And I know y'all celebrate in September because you don't want to compete with New York because she's that girl. But it is during Pride Month. And Dionysus is often in a male body. And in this show is specifically written to be in a queer, butch, she, her body in the play. And seduces women. And so there is like
apparently heterosexual women are seduced. Yes. And this is all in quotes. Absolutely.
and so so I also hope different take away like having like some like sexy queer fun, like some joy in that.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a sexiness, a queerness, a joy, a radicalness, and ultimately a humanity that's broadcast through this play that we need you to come see, to join in the literal festival that is, right? Bacchanal at its core is a festival. So come join us for Hurricane Diane. The dates and all the information are on our website, hartfordstage.org. This is an amazing group of humans you want to see sing and dance, perform, seduce, and we will all worship the god Dionysus when we are done with this, whatever their name might be at that time. Also, while I have you, please subscribe to next season. We also have a really, really great theatrical and eventful season. We're very grateful that Hartford Stage has been here for 61 years in this community. Thank you for watching, seen, and heard, and see you at the theater.